The observation deck of the Covenant of Stars hummed with the low murmur of a dozen alien species, all gathered to witness the signing of the Terran Integration Accord. Commander Gracie Reeves stood near the reinforced viewport, her marine dress uniform crisp despite the 3-week journey from Earth. She watched the nebula outside shift through shades of violet and gold, her expression unreadable. Human. Gracie turned. A Krothek warrior approached, 7 feet of scaled muscle and ceremonial armor that clinked with each deliberate step. His species had ruled this sector for 2 millennia before humanity stumbled into the galactic community 5 years ago. His name was Vorshul, and his reputation preceded him. Undefeated in single combat, veteran of 40 campaigns, collector of trophies from worthy opponents. Commander Reeves, Gracie corrected, her voice pleasant but firm. Vorshul's triforked tongue flicked out, tasting the air. Your kind has made quite the impression in such a short time. Aggressive, adaptable, reckless. He circled her slowly, predatory. Tell me, Commander, what is your kill count? Gracie tilted her head, a small smile playing at the corner of her lips. This year or just this planet? The observation deck fell silent. Conversations died mid-syllable. Even the Viserion diplomat, whose crystalline form refracted light in anxious patterns, stopped humming. Vorshul's pupils dilated, a sign of either excitement or alarm among his people. You jest. Do I? Gracie's smile didn't reach her eyes. Another human voice cut through the tension. She doesn't. Emmanuel Torres stepped from the crowd, his civilian clothes marking him as a contractor rather than military. But his bearing, shoulders back, eyes calculating, told a different story. Gracie's being modest. She's only counting confirmed kills. Emmanuel, Gracie warned, though there was no real heat in it. Emmanuel ignored her, addressing Vorshul directly. You want to know what makes humans dangerous? It's not our weapons. Half the species here have better tech. It's not our numbers. We're newcomers. It's that we don't know when to quit. He gestured to Gracie. The commander here? She held Firebase 17 on Kepler, 442b for 8 days. Alone, after the rest of her unit evacuated. 8 days. A Methusian observer, all tentacles and bioluminescent doubt, interjected. Against what enemy? Hive drones, Gracie said quietly. The settlement needed time to evacuate. Someone had to hold the perimeter. How many drones? Vorshul demanded. Gracie met his gaze steadily. I stopped counting after 3,000. The ammunition counter was more important. The Methusian's tentacles went rigid. Impossible. Hive drones operate in swarms of, I'm aware, Gracie interrupted. I was there. Emmanuel pulled up a holographic display from his wrist terminal. Combat footage flickered to life. Grainy, atmospheric interference creating static, but unmistakable. A lone figure in powered armor, surrounded by a sea of chittering, blade-limbed nightmares. The footage showed Gracie methodically firing, reloading, repositioning. When ammunition ran out, she switched to plasma charges. When those depleted, she used the environment, collapsing tunnel sections, redirecting the base's geothermal vents, even weaponizing the settlement's agricultural drones. Day 6, Emmanuel narrated. She ran out of conventional options. So she jury-rigged the Firebase's reactor into a controlled overload pattern. Every 17 minutes, it would pulse. The electromagnetic surge would disable the drone's neural clusters within a 100-meter radius. That would also disable her armor's systems, Vorshul observed. For 43 seconds each pulse, Gracie confirmed. You learn to count fast. The footage continued. On day 7, Gracie was down to a combat knife and sheer stubbornity. The camera, mounted on her helmet, showed her covered in ichor, armor cracked, left arm clearly broken. She was humming something. A human song. Is that? The Viserion diplomat's translation matrix struggled. A nursery rhyme? The itsy-bitsy spider, Emmanuel said. She claims it helps with rhythm. Keeps her timing precise when she's fighting on fumes. Gracie shrugged. It's a good song. Vorshul watched the footage with an intensity that made others step back. On day 8, evacuation ships finally arrived. The camera showed them touching down on a firebase that looked like it had been hit by an orbital strike. Bodies, drone bodies, were piled in improvised barricades. Automated defenses, cannibalized and repurposed, still fired sporadically. And in the center of it all, Gracie sat on an ammunition crate, calmly cleaning her knife. The hologram dissolved. This is one human, Vorshul said slowly. One soldier. Marine, Gracie corrected again. There's a difference. And how many humans like you does Earth have? Emmanuel's smile was sharp. We stopped counting after 3 billion. The census is more important. The observation deck's silence had transformed. What had been curiosity now tasted like concern, even fear. These delegates represented civilizations that counted their wars in centuries, their casualties in millions. They understood organized military might, fleet actions, strategic bombardments. They didn't understand Firebase 17. They didn't understand one woman deciding that 8 days was merely how long it took to get the job done. Your species terrifies me, Vorshul admitted, and there was respect in his voice now. In 40 years of combat, I have never met anyone who would do what you did. Who could do what you did? Gracie's expression softened slightly. That's the difference between our people, Commander Vorshul. You fight because you're warriors. We fight because someone has to. She glanced at Emmanuel, then back to the Krothek. And we really don't like leaving people behind. Emmanuel stepped forward, extending his hand to Vorshul, a human gesture of respect. The Terran Integration Accord isn't just about trade routes and technology sharing. It's about you understanding what we bring to this community. We're not the strongest. We're not the smartest. But we're the ones who'll hold the line when everyone else evacuates. We're the ones who'll count in days when others count in minutes. Vorshul looked at the offered hand, then at Gracie's calm, unwavering face. Slowly, carefully, he clasped Emmanuel's forearm. Then I am grateful Earth seeks alliance rather than conquest. Gracie chuckled, the sound unexpected and genuine. Oh, we're not conquerors. We're Marines. We just really like defending things. She paused, that tilted head smile returning. But if you ever do need something conquered, well. She glanced at Emmanuel. This year's been slow anyway. The observation deck erupted in nervous laughter, the kind that acknowledged a truth too dangerous to ignore. As the delegates returned to their conversations, Emmanuel leaned close to Gracie. You know you're not supposed to terrify potential allies. Who's terrified? Gracie watched the nebula again. I just answered his question. Emmanuel followed her gaze to the stars beyond. Infinite, dangerous, full of species that had yet to learn what humanity meant by the word determined. Fair enough, he said. Just this planet then? Gracie's smile widened. Just this planet.